Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports video regarding Anthony Yarde. AY and TA are back on BT Sports. Yes, Anthony Yarde, the beast from the East, is back. Tomorrow night on our screens, he'll be fighting against Dex Pelman. It's good to see Anthony Yarde back. I think that Anthony Yarde has what I would call X factor. He definitely has got X factor. He's one of the top guys in the UK. He's got the X factor. He might not have the resume that a lot of other top, well-known, well-documented fighters have got, but he's definitely got X factor. He's got that thing about him where he's got charisma. He's charming, good-looking guy. Articulate and can fight and explosive and gets knockouts. In his last fight, of course, he went and fought Sergey Kovalev. A lot of people out there thought he wouldn't fight Sergey Kovalev. He went up there and he fought Kovalev. And all those people who said he wouldn't fight Kovalev, where were they? They were at the end hoping for his downfall because, for whatever reason, a lot of people in the UK don't like a fighter that has confidence. That's a fact. A lot of people in the UK don't like confident people. But in boxing, you have to be confident. In stepped Tunde Ajayi, who has come under a tremendous amount of stick for being outspoken, for doing things his way and not doing things the traditional way. I'd be a hypocrite if I turn around and I attack Tunde Ajayi, because ultimately Tunde Ajayi is the type of guy that he's the kind of guy who will be a pioneer and if Yarde wins a world title, I mean, already he's shown us by going his way. He's done some things with Yarde that there are fighters who have won world titles that haven't got the sort of sponsorship deals that Yarde has got. So, you know what I mean? That alone, you've got to give Tunde credit for. A unique fighter, Anthony Yarde, in the way that Tunde is training him and making him out to be. That as well has made him an exciting fighter. And for that, you have to give Tunde and Anthony Yarde credit for being exciting, entertaining, unique, and something a little different. Okay? So for me, I like that. I like something different. I like something that I want to tune in. Oh, I would rush home to watch Anthony Yarde fight. Yeah, I would. I would rush home to watch Anthony Yarde fight. Because I think he brings a certain amount of, entertainment. And when he fights, he's looking to go for knockouts. You know what I mean? You're not looking for Anthony Yarde to go points. Okay, in his last fight, it didn't work against Sergey Kovalev, but Sergey Kovalev is a tremendous champion. And we need to take that into consideration. Not a lot of guys. I can't see Joshua Buatsi going out and fighting Kovalev off the bat like that. Natural didn't dare do that. Not yet. He's got to fight a few more people yet that I can't fight, and then they'll throw him in. You understand? But Anthony Yarde showed lots of heart, dug deep, fought back with Kovalev and almost stopped Sergey Kovalev. So, to think that he did that much, and some people said, well, he was getting out boxing the fight and all the rest of it. He almost stopped Sergey Kovalev, and that is something that he needs to be credited for. But, and I say a big but, ultimately, he got stopped. He got knocked out because of exhaustion, because of a lack of experience. As he said himself, his trainer told him, go for it, and basically shot his load, and at the end, paid the price, where he got knocked out by a jab, a la Nigel Benn. Remember Nigel Benn when he fought Michael Watson? Similar situation. Ben punched himself out, and it just took a jab to knock Watson and Ben out. Now, Yarde took some good punches against Kovalev, so he did well in that night. He did well. I said for this fight, for Yarde to win the fight, he couldn't sit on the back foot and wait for Kovalev. He'd have to take the attack to Kovalev. He'd have to work the body early, and he would have to negotiate that jab. He'd have to get past that jab. If he allowed Kovalev to get set with that jab, he would have problems all night long. And if he stayed at the end of the jab with Kovalev, then he would get himself knocked out. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what we saw at the end. One of the things that concern me is the continual talk about the Kovalev fight. You lost. You lost. And that is a highlight. He's been thrown into superstardom or world elite because of that fight against Kovalev. Yarde fought his heart out that night. Okay? But now we have to go back to British level. We need to bring ourselves down from those heady heights. You've leapfrogged like not even won a British title and jumped right up into elite level. Do you understand? So, and Kovalev's got some great names on his resume. And Canelo didn't just step in there and knock him out. Do you understand? So, we're back now fighting Dex Pelman. And Yarde said, you know, I'm going to come back. I'm going to handle business. I'm going to take care of Pelman. But there is this fight, of course, the fight he had before in a nightclub that nobody saw. There is that. I still remain apprehensive. Only to the point that we still don't know how good Yarde is. We still don't know. You know, I'm still. He's a talent. He's got X factor, and if managed correctly, he could well be pay-per-view star and could well be one of the leading light heavyweights in the world if he makes improvements. If he doesn't improve, yes, he can have experience, and we can say, well, you know what? I got knocked out because I shot my load. I'll go back to the gym. I'll train the same way, but next time I won't shoot my load. But if you're fundamentally and technically flawed and you haven't worked out how to get past the jab, if you haven't worked out that, you know, at the elite level, there are certain adjustments that need to be made. If you haven't made those adjustments in the gym, and if your trainer hasn't made those adjustments in the gym, then it's just same old, same along. Keep on ticking, doing the things that you're doing in the hope that you'll be able to bridge the gap next time. The only way you're going to bridge the gap is by having meaningful fights against good opposition that's going to test you. The problem with this is, because Yarde made that jump up to against Kovalev now, that Kovalev fight is like the thing that he's made his name on. Yeah, he fought against Kovalev, but he got knocked out by Kovalev. That's not really what you want to be making a branding your name off, getting knocked out by Kovalev. But that's ultimately what it is. A lot of people might not like to hear that, but it's like rewarding good with a poor or bad performance. You didn't win, so people are still talking about a Kovalev performance and praising him. Okay, fight. That's done now. You got Dex Pelman to deal with. So now you've come down. Can you bring yourself to the level now and motivate yourself to fight a guy like Dex Pelman, who's coming, who's got really nothing to lose, who's got absolutely really nothing to prove. In himself, it's like, you know, he's fighting the superstar Anthony Yarde, and now the hunter has become hunted. He's been wounded. He's been hurt. He's been dropped and knocked out. Before that fight against Kovalev, Yarde, as far as I'm concerned, had never been dropped in his career. Never been wobbled, never been hurt. He had everything under his control to the point where he'd play with opponents. So at a certain level, Yarde was playing with opponents. But you take into consideration the Yarde was playing with opponents to then a world-class athlete in Sergey Kovalev. You now have meeting a guy who understands and a big amateur record as well. You now working to talk about a guy who's got, you know, distance, understanding how to distance himself with a jab, when to throw punches, when not to throw punches, when to engage, when not to engage, what to do when you're hurt, you know, how to use the gas tank. A lot of these things that Sergey Kovalev had experience fighting abroad. Sergey Kovalev had far more experience in his fight with Anthony Yarde. Do you understand? So, for me, this Dex Spellman fight, what I want to see of Yarde is him go through the gears and stop Spellman spectacularly. But he has to be careful. The thing about the Kovalev fight has to be totally forgotten about. And that whole Kovalev experience mustn't be used as a basis to make yourself out to be something you're not quite yet. Do you understand? What I mean by that is you're going to fight. Well, I fought Kovalev, and I almost stopped him in the 8th round. But you were getting that jab by Kovalev, you were getting that box by Kovalev, and you literally had to bite down your gum shield in the 8th to try and stop him, and you didn't get him out of there. A guy that a super middleweight, Canelo, basically walked in there, landed his shots, and stopped him. I understand. Although Canelo himself was getting out boxed as far as I was concerned. And that's just the difference. Is Yarde... you look at Alvarez. Alvarez stopped. Alvarez stopped Kovalev. So punching power. How big a puncher actually is Anthony Yarde? Because he couldn't stop Kovalev. And he put everything in and he hit Kovalev with big shots. Kovalev didn't go anywhere. And ultimately, in that 8th round, Kovalev didn't go anywhere. He didn't drop Kovalev. So how big a puncher actually is Anthony Yarde? We start to ask the question. Will the stamina improve? What's the sparring been like? What adjustments have been made by Anthony Yarde's style? And is Tunde Ajayi willing to make those adjustments? It's not a criticism of the trainer, just a question. He said he learned a lot of things. He said that, well, Kovalev had X amount of fights and he had an amateur pedigree and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But that was still the case going into the fight. So, I don't know. Now there's the Joshua Buatsi fight, the Lyndon Arthur fight, and I got to Spellman fight. If Spellman can take Yarde's punches and can close the range down and can put pressure on Yarde, that's when we're going to see what Yarde is like since he's been beat. Some fighters, when they've been beat, they come back even stronger. Other guys, when they got beat and they lose the unbeaten record, they lose an element of confidence. And of course, if I'm Dex Spellman, I've got nothing to lose. I jump on Yarde. Problem with Dex Spellman now is the technical shortcomings. For example, Dex Spellman's shortcomings would be he doesn't move his head. He walks down in straight lines, and he eats every punch in the book. The left jab, the right hand, right uppercut, the left hook. Hey, MZ, TT, UK. How you doing, babe? Hope you're well. He takes every shot in the book. The left hook, the right hand, the right uppercut. Lyndon Arthur hit him with everything. Anthony Yarde is a more explosive puncher here now. So, I expect Yarde to stop Spellman. Having said all of this, with the Kovalev win, a loss, and the giddy heights of a Kovalev fight, is there a possibility? Because I don't know Anthony Yarde that well, and Tunde Ajayi. Is there a possibility that we could be praising somebody's knockout loss to herald in the next superstar of British boxing off a knockout loss? Do you understand where I'm going with this? When they walk around, were we the guys that fought Kovalev? Well, we fought Kovalev. You can take that mentality. Yeah, we came up short, but at the end of the day, we didn't have the experience. We came up short. We'll go again. So I heard some story about Anthony Yarde saying that he will take the Canelo fight. So where are we going with this? If you would take a Canelo fight, where are we going with this young man's development? Are they prepared to develop this young man into a future superstar, or are we going to get another fast track situation? What's the plan? Obviously, you've got Lyndon after he's the Commonwealth champion, so to pick up a belt and win the Commonwealth championship would be nice. You've got, I think Boats is the British champion, so there's a fight there for the British and Commonwealth titles there. You've got the European champion, light heavyweight European champion. Be nice to see how Yarde does against a European champion. For all we know, Anthony Yarde might just be European level. He might just be a European level fighter. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because if you go for it that way and think about it, well, okay, he's a European level fighter and he fought Kovalev and that happened, well, we'd accept it. But we still don't quite know what the level is. Is he European level? Well, he hasn't fought a European champion. But for us to start saying he's a world-class fighter, well, it's a bit premature. He has the potentials of being a world-class fighter. Oh, he belongs at this level. Well, does he? He was getting out jabbed, outboxed, outmaneuvered. You know. And he couldn't get Kovalev out of there. So what was world-class he did? I'm not being critical. I'm just trying to be objective and say, well, okay, let's walk before we can run here. We have to learn the lessons from the fight before and say, okay, shelve that. We know how good your heart is and how you're prepared to dig down deep, and we know all that stuff. Now let's go back and let's build you up properly. Let's give you those fights. But again, saying all that, if you do that and you get beat at British level or Commonwealth level or European level, then your deals with Adidas and all these things start to go by the wayside because you're not exactly what you've put yourself out to be. So from a marketing strategy and a promotional strategy, Tunde Ajayi has to be very careful, and Frank, Tunde more so, of how they move Anthony Yarde in the future. See, winning a Commonwealth belt will be nice to the Adidas brand, but obviously they want to see a world champion, which means the likes of Beterbiev, Bivol, they're the guys that Mr. Yarde is going to be looking at in the future. Callum Smith. Callum Johnson. Ramirez, the former WBO champion that moved up to light heavyweight. Buatsi. Not so much Buatsi because he's still unproven. But they're big boys in that division. Joe Smith. How does Yarde do against Joe Smith? I think Joe Smith is a tremendous fight for Anthony Yarde. A dangerous fight at that. Joe Smith is getting better. Alvarez. You know? Even a Chilembe, Isaac Chilembe. How does Anthony Yarde do against these guys? He's going to have to face a world champion eventually, but when? So those are my thoughts about this Yarde v Spellman. I hope that Yarde can stay focused, do the job against Spellman. People are expecting Yarde to walk through Spellman. Spellman will walk. I don't know what Spellman's going to turn up, but if Spellman will walk onto right hands and right uppercuts. Spellman's the type of opponent that can make Anthony Yarde look very good. Right? He's also the type of opponent that can cause an upset. Because one of them big winging right hands landing in Yarde's chin and he loses concentration. We've seen upsets happen in boxing. So it's not out of the question. And he'll be coming to upset the party. And remember now, Yarde's been knocked out. So he's not Mr. Invincible. Spellman can look at it and say, he's been knocked out. I've seen him get knocked out. I've seen this guy be knocked out. I've seen this guy be hurt now. I want to be the man to do it. I want to make a name of myself. And, fighters can be emotionally charged. We've seen it before. The night where Jonathan Banks fought Seth Mitchell and everyone was rating Seth Mitchell up, and Banks was motivated by the death of Emmanuel Stewart. We all saw what happened then. So Spellman on paper, he comes to fight, rugged, tough, durable. If Yarde can't get rid of Spellman, which we hope he can, he's been talking about knocking Spellman out early, or knocking Spellman out. We hope he does, and he can, and show that he's a class above Spellman, and he can do a better job than Lyndon Arthur, because that will set up a nice fight between those two. But should Yarde struggle tonight? Should Yarde look bad tonight? Should he look disorganized and not like the guy we've seen previously? Questions will be asked. But if he goes out and takes care of Spellman, and there's no mentally, he looks sharp and he's good, and he doesn't look any different to pre-Kovalev in the sense like he comes out positively and isn't gun shy, then the future's bright. So we'll see. All the best to top boxer Umar Sadiq fighting tonight for the WBA World WBA Super Middleweight Championship against Fedor Chudinov. That fight is going to be on Box Nation at 9:15, 9:15 UK time. So check that out as well. So good luck to him tonight. We interviewed his trainer Tony Cisse, who's also going to be in the corner of Danny Williams. Yes, Danny Williams, the heavyweight. He's going to be in his corner as well tonight as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the young man does. So good luck, Umar Sadiq. Can you do what George Groves did and stop Fedor Chudinov? Right, I'm out of here now. Have a real good evening and enjoy the boxing tonight. Take care.